Well, howdy, folks. I am live, and I'm here at the Dead Sea in Jordan. Made it to Jordan, and so I just want to do a very quick live and show you all the view from here because it's amazing. I'm standing up to my knees in the Dead Sea, and it's right about sunset, so the sun is setting back there behind me. I just wanted you to be able to see that. That is pretty amazing. Most people are probably still asleep back in the States or getting ready for church, so I don't expect a lot of people will be able to see this live, but I just wanted to show you and give you a chance to experience it with me. It's the bottom here in the Dead Sea is, of course, that really thick mud. Get some of it here. People come here specifically for this mud because it's like super muddy, super rich with minerals and salts and stuff. But also, when you get in the water, it's the bottom is kind of crunchy and very hard on my tender little feet. So everybody likes to, like spread the mud all over themselves. People in New York pay big bucks for this kind of thing, and it's supposed to be really good for your complexion. And everybody knows I need that as best I can do. This is the money maker. I got to take care of it. Actually, I used to do this in the Army all the time. It was so the enemy couldn't see me. It's very, very gritty. It's not smooth at all. And it smells burnt. It's a very interesting smell. Ow. Maybe that's not a great idea to put on your face when you shaved recently, because if you got any open wounds or anything at all, you are going to feel it for sure. Yeah, cleans the pores. It has been almost exactly 20 years since the last time I was here. And I came here on a press junket. Was one of the very first trips I ever did working for CBN. And the state of Jordan paid for it. Jordan wanted to get more people to come to Jordan for tourism. And so they would give you an all expenses paid 10-day trip to Jordan. And all you had to do was either write about it or make TV about it or something like that. And so I signed up for that right away. And then they called me, I don't know, a couple weeks before the tour was supposed to go, and said, we're going to have to cancel a trip because we don't have enough people signed up. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have enough people signed up? And they're like, yeah, we need. I said, how many do you need? And they said, well, we need at least, I think, 15 people or something, and we only have 4. And I was like, give me 2 days and I'll fill this thing up for you. And they said, okay. So they did. And whoa, I'm sinking in the mud here. Isn't that a beautiful sunset? Holy cow. Look at that. That's pretty amazing. So I called basically everybody I knew and said, you need to become a journalist very quickly. And they did. And they started blogs. And, this is back when blogging was just kind of very, very new. And so they called their local newspaper and said, hey, I want to, I'm going to be a journalist for you, and I'm going to go to Jordan. I'll write about it. And they got somebody to say they would, give them credentials or whatever. And Jordan decided to go for it. And so I recruited 11 people to come on this trip. And we had a fantastic time because it was like most of my friends who were never, weren't journalists, but some of them ended up becoming journalists after that because they had so much fun on the trip. And so it was a great time. Jordan absolutely blew it out. The government here took us to like all these 5-star resorts and suites in every hotel and wined us and dined us. I mean, it was amazing. We had an absolutely great time. And so it was, man, look at that. That is a sunset, man. I should have done this horizontally because what a incredible view that is. It's just harder to hold the camera horizontally. But is that not just an amazing, you don't need to look at me, look at that. Sunset, holy cow. So I made it across to Jordan, obviously. And crossing the border was not very difficult. It was a little hectic, but not very crowded. And I'm just floating around the Dead Sea here. Oh. It's hard to float upright for some reason. It wants to lay you out, but I don't want to drop my phone in the Dead Sea. That would probably be the end of my phone. So I'm having to kind of crouch, I guess, in the mud. But thank you very much for the donations. We're going to make the most of those donations. I saw some street children today in Jordan that just made my heart break. They were running around in this kind of really dirty, dusty part of town that we drove through. I didn't have time to stop, but I sure would have stopped and tried to take those kids out to eat or something. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. So on this trip that I did 20 years ago, the last time I was here on the Jordanian side of the Dead Sea, we stayed right around the corner off that point there at the Marriott Resort. And right next to that is the Movenpick. So some very nice resorts here. The hotel I'm staying at is the Hilton because I'm a Hilton guy. And that's the Hilton back there. And the reason I'm staying at this, I would have stayed at the, there's two or three Hiltons in Amman, and there's one that's much closer to the airport, but it was quite a bit more expensive, maybe 30% more expensive. So I was just like, well, heck, if I have to go to the resort because it's cheaper, I guess I'll save CBN some money. So I did, and here I am at the Dead Sea Resort, Hilton Dead Sea Resort. I don't know that you could call this news making, but I don't mind having a day of rest here on Sunday. And so I just wanted to share this incredible, incredible sunset with you. When we were here 20 years ago, I don't know that this Hilton was here, but we came down to the Dead Sea, and then we went down to the south, went to Petra, we went to Mayan Springs, we went to Gerash, however you say that, and a lot of biblical sites. They call this the other Holy Land because so many of the biblical historical sites are actually over here. So like the actual spot where Jesus likely was baptized in the Jordan River is inside Jordan now because the river has moved since then, and they have found the old riverbed, but it's like 700 meters inside Jordan. And the reason that they know, they think they can tell right where Jesus actually was, or where he was baptized, is because the Jordan River went through a built-up area back at that time. And thank you, Jordana, very kind. The Jordan River went through this built-up area, and so they had like retaining walls to direct the course, or along the course of the river. And there were only certain spots where you could get down to the water, where they had stairs built down to get water out of the river. And they found one of those places, which is you know, in a spot that was very likely to be where Jesus had been. And there was the ruins, or there was a 4th century, like Franciscan church built right on that spot, very small one. We would call it maybe a chapel, but it was not facing the right direction. Usually they would face them east, and they had to be very specific about how they were turned. But this one was obviously built on that spot because they had to build it right there. And you can still see the ruins of that church if you go there today. So they figured that was probably the place, as near as they can tell, where Jesus was actually baptized. And you can walk down those steps and stand in the water. Thank you, Linda. You like my mud bath here? So I'm just floating around in the Dead Sea, remembering the last time I was here, which is about 20 years ago. And I remember when I was getting in the water, 5 minutes? Okay. I remember when I was getting in the water back then, it's kind of precarious. You know, there's a lot of rocks on the shore and everything. And so I was already in the water, and I was trying to get out. So I was sort of tottering around trying to get out of the water. Thank you very much for the donations, guys. And there was a woman that was trying to get in the water where I was trying to get out. So I reached out my hand to give her a hand to get in, help her get in, to help steady her. And she tripped, and she scratched me right on my stomach and just opened me up. Like, I couldn't believe she did that with her nails. And to this day, 20 years later, I've got a scar right there on my stomach from that woman right here. See that scar? I've got a scar there from that woman 20 years ago trying to get into the Dead Sea. So that's my souvenir. I'm trying to get out of this mud. The guy, the lifeguard, just told me that I got 5 minutes, because I guess it closes at sunset. I'm going to turn the camera around and just show you the sunset. It is magnificent. Look at that. Hello, Maui. Jordan is 1 hour ahead of Israel, so I ended up coming on earlier than I normally would today. Thank you, Aunt Mandy May. Isn't that an amazing sunset? So I'll give you a quick update on the war while I'm making my way out of the water here. Wait, before I do that, look at this. Look down here. Look at the minerals down here in this water. That's amazing. Wow, Cynthia, thank you very much. That's very kind. There's tons of salt, like you can just pick the salt up out of here. Like that. This is just rock salt, Dead Sea salt. Amazing. Trying not to touch my phone too much with that hand. Don't want to get that salty water on my phone and fry my phone in a hurry, I think. Giving you an update on the war. Things are really heating up in the north right now. They had another anti-tank guided missile rocket attack on the northern border today that just wrecked about 4 or 5 cars that were parked all together because it was power company employees that were trying to repair the power lines from a previous attack. and they got smoked up there. 6 people injured badly. Nobody killed so far, but they're not out of the woods yet, so that somebody might still die, it sounds like. And Israel is hitting back very hard. It is really starting to escalate on the northern border. Hassan Nasrallah, the commander of Hezbollah, gave another speech, I guess yesterday, and again sort of stopped short of calling for all-out war, and literally said that it said something along the lines of, if we escalate this thing, Israel is going to turn Beirut into a smoking ruin. But if that's the price we have to pay, we're okay with that. It's something along those lines. It was just like, holy cow. He knows that he is condemning lots of his own people to death, and he doesn't care. Doesn't care one bit. When they say that they love death as much as we love life, they're right about that, but they don't love their own death so much as they love the deaths of their own people, because they're cowards. And what they don't understand is that we love life because all the dying has already been done for us by Jesus on the cross. And so we don't have to die a certain way. We don't have to do anything to earn our way to heaven. We just have to accept that free gift. And there's your sermon for Sunday. So anyway, here in Jordan, well, let's finish up on the northern border. There's also been more fighting between Israel and Syria, more firing coming across the border from there. I got to run back down here for a second. And so things are definitely heating up there. The West Bank is still sort of simmering. Down in Gaza, there have been all these, it's just mind-boggling to me how the media just gladly pounces on anything they can to say something negative about Israel. And so when Israel was closing in on the Shifa hospital in northern Gaza, there was a report that came out, and the report actually said that there may be, that there are something like 46 preemies, babies that were born prematurely, in the hospital. And if they don't have electricity, they could die. Now, the electricity was not cut off to the hospital when they said that. They were just saying that if the electricity gets cut off the hospital, these babies could die. That turned into, by the time it made it into the media, that Israel had surrounded the hospital, cut off the electricity, and that 46 babies had died. And the hospital itself was forced to issue a clarification and say, no, the babies haven't died yet. We're just saying they could die if the electricity gets turned off. So Israel put together a special unit to go in and help evacuate those babies. And they're in the process of that now, helping get those babies out. And they never actually surrounded the hospital and laid siege to it. They actually left one axis open where people could leave the hospital and get out to the south to safety the whole time. But of course, you're not going to hear that in the media. And so anyway, things are going swimmingly in Gaza, obviously. Still no word on the hostages. They had, I think, an armored vehicle from the IDF or something that got whacked by Hamas fighters, and I think that like maybe 9 people were killed, something like that. It was pretty bad. So the death toll among the IDF, can I shower? Yeah. Among the IDF is something like 42 now. I gotta, rinsing this stuff off of you is a chore. It's not easy. This stuff does not come off easily. And I can't even get the shower to work. There we go. No, there's no pressure. Okay, we'll try another one. So, there we go. I'm trying to get this beach shower working here so I can get this junk off my face. Whew. Smooth as a baby's behind. Hard getting all this salt water off. They want you to wash really well before you go up and get in the pool because they don't want this salt getting in the actual swimming pool up there. Anyway, so things are going along well. They like I said, they had, I think the death toll is now 42 among IDF soldiers since the invasion began. That's actually lower than we predicted it would be by now. So although every one of those is a tragedy, it's actually better than we had hoped it would be. I mean, not we would hope, than we figured it might be by now. So anyway, the water temperature is actually very warm. I've been to the Dead Sea in January when it was super cold, but it's bathwater warm in the actual Dead Sea right now. This water coming out of the shower is quite a bit colder than the Dead Sea is, but I don't mind that a bit. I like cold water. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to talk more about Jordan and what they're doing. They have so far pretty much stayed out of the conflict except to express their displeasure at Israel attacking Gaza. They recalled their ambassador because of that and kind of, made a fuss about it, which they kind of have to do. Jordan and Israel actually get along pretty well. And the problem that Jordan has is that they have like 2 million Palestinian refugees here in their country. And they are afraid that number will go up, will skyrocket. They want to make sure that the other 2 million, 2.5 million Palestinians from Gaza don't end up here. That would be vastly expensive for Jordan. Jordan has the second largest per capita number of refugees in their country of any country in the world, just behind Turkey. So they have over 3 million refugees from not just the Palestinians, but also the Syrian conflict that are here in Jordan. And those people typically live in these refugee camps. But again, like I mentioned yesterday, a refugee camp is not a refugee camp. It's a poor neighborhood, or what we would call maybe a slum. But it's built up, it's permanent housing. They're not tents or anything like that. And they call them camps because they started out as camps, but they've been there for so long that they got built up into actual housing. So anyway, Jordan is pretty much staying out of there. They put some more troops down along the border with Israel, but they're not threatening Israel. Jordan's not going to attack Israel or anything like that. They, like I say, they actually have a pretty good relationship. It's just that right now they can't afford to look like they have a good relationship with Israel because their own, people are up in arms about Gaza. And of course the queen here is Palestinian, so obviously she's got to stand up for her people. I was surprised reading about Palestinians that there are about as many Palestinians in the world as there are Jews in Israel, like 12 million. I didn't know there were that many, and it's one of those countries where there are far more of that people group living outside their territory than they live inside their territory. Kind of like Armenia. Armenia is that way. Armenia has 2.5 million people living in Armenia and about 10 million Armenians living outside Armenia. So it's one of those kind of things. Interesting. Most of the Palestinians that are refugees live either in Jordan or in Lebanon. Look at that. Just a beautiful, beautiful night. There's some bugs bothering me out here, but other than that, it's gorgeous. So that's what's going on in Jordan. I don't feel unsafe here. I wondered how I would feel when I got here, whether it would be tense or what, but it's everybody. Jordanians are mostly descended from Bedouin, and Bedouin have this world, anywhere you meet Bedouin, they are super, super friendly, super hospitable. If a Bedouin takes you into his house, he must basically give his life for you as long as you're under his roof. That's why, if you remember in the Bible, when Lot came to Sodom, which actually is right down at the southern end of the Dead Sea, and he went into the guy's house, and the men of Sodom came and wanted to know Lot, basically, raped them. And the guy said, hey, don't do this, take my daughter, rape her. And you think, what kind of father would do something like that? Well, that is the extent of Bedouin culture almost to this day. That if they have a guest under their roof, their guest is the most important person in the house. And so everywhere you go in Jordan, the first thing people say to you is welcome, welcome, welcome. To the point that it almost gets annoying, because I was trying to take a nap in my hotel room when I got here today, take a little short nap, and they kept knocking on the door to bring me a box of dates and calling me to see if the room was okay. And the sign's like, leave me alone. But very, very nice here. So I think when I come back next week, I'm gonna come back through this way and then actually head down to Eilat and cross in Eilat so that I can see what the situation is down there. And of course, all that can change depending on the circumstances. So anyway, thank you for being a part of this. I wanted to mention the trips that I had talked about to Armenia. The one in June is completely full. That's the 10-day trip we're doing to Armenia in June 6th through the 16th. Is completely booked. I opened up yesterday another trip to Armenia because there's so much demand from May 3rd to the 13th. And we already have 11 people signed up for that trip. So it's about half full already. I don't like to take more than about 25 people because it is, I want it to be kind of intimate, and the logistics get crazy if you get more than that. So I'm sure we're gonna fill this one up at the rate we're going. If we got 11 people in one day for that trip. If you'd like to go, you can go to my link tree, which is hopefully, I don't know if my wife is on putting that link in the comments here, but I will put it in the section right below this video. You can go look at any of my previous videos, and they should have the link tree link in there. It's just linktr.ee. So link tree, but you put a dot between the TR and the EE /Holton, HOLTON. And you can find the link to the May trip there. It's going to be a great trip. It's going to be a great trip. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be, I keep talking about Armenia, but I'm telling you, if people knew how great Armenia was, everybody would go to Armenia. It would be right on the top of everybody's list for vacations. And you won't regret it. So I hope you'd like to come with us and get to meet me and my wife, and we'll spend a great 10 days together and have a good time. I am going to be doing a CBN live here pretty soon. Well, probably about, let's see, Eastern time, 1:30 Eastern time, something like that. I'll do a CBN live. If you want to come on and watch that, go over to CBN News on YouTube and watch the YouTube live over there. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Crawfish. Thank you for praying for the peace of Jerusalem. Yeah, the Dead Sea is pretty great. So tomorrow I'm going to be flying home. So I don't get home until about 3 p.m., something like that. So when I'll get back to Panama about 3 p.m. and I'll try to do a live sometime mid to late afternoon tomorrow, because I'll be back on East Coast time. All right, so God bless you all and take care. Thank you for watching. We'll see you.